forward to the air and answer to the call. Burn like a fire, willful and wild. This is the night that you what you could be.
Hi, Z here. This was our Christmas rescue that we do every year. So the way it went down was we found a brothel that we had been watching for quite some time, and we had the crew to do it. We always try to make sure that we do a Thanksgiving and a Christmas rescue each year. This is one that was on the edge of town. It had 18 girls in it currently, and they were between the ages of 9 to 15. It had 5 guards, and normally 3 were outside, 2 inside. It was gang-owned brothel, and they had the permission of the police. The gang did not spend a lot of time visiting this location and mostly left the crew in charge. The brothel was known for selling and trading girls, and often sold them for their organs. We had a large team with the knowledge of it being a Christmas rescue. Everybody wanted to be involved. So we were really thin on funds, basically none, and we explained that to everybody. But as is, you know, they just sort of planned this now. It's like our tradition. So we had more than enough people to do it. So anyway, the brothel was located on a corner and had some small businesses, but all of them would be all around it, but they would be closed when we hit it. The building had no tunnels or connecting doors or to anything other than outside. It is in a high traffic zone and had customers all night. We had the spotters watching while we made the plan. They focused on our escape routes and traffic inside the brothel. The downside is the awareness of the guards and the busy roads for our escape. We decided to focus on the constant change of the girls. We knew how it works, and it is never the same truck or deliveries or drivers, so we would use this to our advantage. We had 2 safe houses ready and hoped we would just use one. We hit it about midnight with a covered truck, and like was described to us is the norm there. The driver would pull up and drive, the drive and get into the attention of the 3 guards, or as many as he could. He would get them to the back of the truck to see if the girls we were delivering, to see the girls that we were delivering. But instead there would be 7 teammates in the back. Once all 3 were incapacitated, we would move the truck to block the entrance. At the same time, across the street, our social workers would wait in a van. The 2 other exit doors would be covered. The team at the entrance would try to spot the other 2 guards. They had 30 seconds as our usual, then would move in anyway. They would take down the bad guys and the customers, then signal for the social workers to move in quiet and with the van behind our truck. Then enter and put the younger girls in the van, and the rest would be in the covered truck. The social workers would make sure the girls knew it was all good and would go to the same place, and they could watch each other in the vehicles as we were traveling, so they didn't think that we were separating them or that we had other intentions. Then once loaded, we would move in a convoy of 6 trucks to the safe house. Spotters would keep us informed the whole way if we had any shadows. Once at the safe house, all the girls would be evaluated and treated if necessary, and fed and clothed. then to the destination that we had set up. One thing I don't think I've spent a lot of time on is there's so many things to make these girls comfortable, and well within their circumstances, and one of those is that the clothes are identifying them still with the brothel. So whenever possible, we try to give them a change of clothes, and they also try to bathe them a little bit. That also helps them feel different. I don't know, I'm not a psychologist or nothing like that, but the workers seem to know what they're doing, so, and it seems to work in the past. So here we go. Lost my place. So it was go time, and this time all was in order, and 3 customers inside, but all of them were old. We moved in, and as we thought, the delivery truck had worked. The conversation was a little confused with the guards, but it was not out of the ordinary. He stepped into the truck and was taken by the team. The second guard approached, and the driver pointed to the rear of the truck, and again the guard entered and was taken by the team. The third guard was at the entrance but not approaching, so the driver got out and called him over, and he did as asked. The driver got a smoke from him, then took him down, and the team came out, and 3 guards were bound and gagged and moved closer to the entrance. The team was not able to locate the other 2 guards inside from the door, but entrance was clear. It had been 30 seconds, so they moved in and in the back room, the customers and both of the guards, with a lineup of the girls, all 18. Before they knew what happened, we had got them and neutralized them. The girls went crazy and run in all directions as the norm, but the team blocked the door and called in the social workers. The girls had moved back to the wall, and when the social workers entered, we could see the girls stop screaming. Still scared, you could see the social workers get through to the older ones, and they calmed a little. They were told what was about to happen, and they needed to be quiet and move into the van and truck quick so that we could leave this place. The older girls told the little ones, and all seemed in order. We were on time, and all the girls and the building was checked again. All the team spotters outside were informed and ready. So the team took everyone out fast and silent. The loudest noise was the van door shutting. We double checked, and all was in order, and so we gave the order to roll. The team that was left behind would watch to see if any attention was attracted, and then once all was good, they would catch up and follow. It was an hour to the safe house, and on the way the girls were quickly checked for medical problems, but all seemed to be okay. A more thorough check would be made at the house. Now at the safe house, the kids were checked, and all very hungry and had not had much food all week. And they had, sorry, that's my cat. Now at the safe house, the kids were all checked and hungry and had not much food, and all were weak. We could see scars and flesh cuts on them from being beaten. When the body is weak from lack of food or movement, when they get beaten, it is harder on the body. So all were in bad condition, but not as bad as we've seen. They were ready to go to a more permanent location, and then the older ones would be sent to another place to call their home. That is, if it was okay with them once they understand what is happening. some develop relations with the younger girls and do not want to be separated. So we make sure that is taken care of. Maybe some will be able to return home, but that's not very often. We will not put them back in harm's way. There was an additional surprise for me at the end of this one. Due to the big fire here in California, I lost my job to it burning down and had no funds to pay for this one. Because of this rescue being a Christmas rescue, many of the team members that were not involved directly came to meet them when they arrived. The orphanage, we had taken in all the girls. We have taken the orphanage that we took them to, have always taken in all of our kids, even though that we didn't have the funds to support them. The place had really fallen apart, even the kitchen and the rooms. The food supply was at its limits, and the nuns were all working over 80 hours a week plus. Some of them were going without food in order for the kids to have the food. We always place a guard at our locations, and due to the lack of room, the guard had been sleeping in the yard. So what happened was incredible. And to go back, you know, the guards, what happens is the team members, they'll come there and they take turns staying at these locations. Sometimes there's more than one, but in their time off, they'll go and be in that location in case we do a rescue in that area. They can do something about it. Otherwise, they just hang out there, and so that the girls are always protected. So anyway, my team and the volunteers came bearing gifts. Construction equipment and supplies, volunteers that would take several hours a week to relieve the nuns from their long hours, so a lot of volunteers replaced them while they could rest and all. Of course, the nuns are kind of control freaks and wanted to make sure that everything was good, but they did get their rest. We got food from vendors, and they agreed to give huge discounts and many times even free food. One teammate brought 2 teachers. They were also people from the military formerly. They were willing to stay for 2 years with no pay. Another teammate is a nurse and agreed to stay for 1 year and no pay. They brought enough materials to build 10 more rooms, and will house 4 kids in each of the rooms with plenty of space. Also, they were installing modern bathroom. All the toilet areas were going to be replaced. That meaning actual toilets, Western toilets. Also, they would have a sink and a lot more. What was really special was the gifts. The girls had just that we just rescued were totally swarmed by the other girls. They were brought into the family, and the recovery was amazing to hear. As we received the calls, or as I received calls from my teammates, it sounded like they had just won the lottery. The gifts they brought were just like so much food, yes, and things the kids rarely see, if ever. Cake. They all received little gifts, all wrapped, and they all received little stuffed animals. Funny point here: many of the kids did not understand a wrapped gift, and they did not want to destroy the paper, so it had to be explained to them what to do. Yet they still tried to save the paper. The kids' favorite is always the puzzles. I saw a short video live that just totally blew me away. I saw kids smiling and running and falling down, playing with toys, and of course eating. I saw the nuns always were yelling at me. The nuns that were always yelling at me every time. I brought more kids they could not afford, all smiling and looked rested. You know, all we know yeah, you know, we all that this is, we all know that this is just a band-aid, but it's something, you know, one day in a life. Sometimes that's all that's needed. Yet I think this is one of the happiest days for all of us, being able to see what can be rather than what is. You know, this is not just about doing what is right or needed, but it's changing the world. Just the deed of doing a reset. This is a crime against humanity, and it's hard to understand how all are not involved in curing this disease. Yet I understand people have their own choices and values, and that's fine. To see this rescue and the aftermath taught me something. To do this cause, you discover something that is great inside, something you cannot describe. While so evil, you become unafraid. See, the lack of interest, you see this lack of interest in people, and it just drives you harder. To know what few know about this crime, you know, and you preach to everyone, and most don't want to hear it anymore. They start the conversation, and then you start to talk, and you can see people just start to fade away when they start to hear the truth about what's going on. Yet they don't do anything. I don't, still to this day, don't understand that. But you know, inside us, we know it has to be said. There's no PC in this crime. I saw this event, and that showed me I am not alone in how much I feel for these kids and what we do. It is like an addiction. When one of the team members or volunteers experiences firsthand a rescue of one of these young souls, a transformation that happens inside of you is like discovering a knowing. You become stronger in who you are now. Just like you forgive the parents who sell their kids, as you forgive those who don't do something to help. You define love in a way it can no longer be defined, but you know exactly what it is. So, bless all of you. Thank you for hearing us. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Rescued 18. That makes the years total 806, or the 3-year total now, or almost 3 years, 868. And we still have 100% retention. None have ever returned. And again, that's unheard of. So, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Sure.
Năm nay giờ không phải năm 18 ngày là rồi. Năm cuối đi làm.